When I was doing some work on the coolant hoses and removed an idler pulley, I noticed it was a little noisy. You can really hear and feel the bearings when you spin it. So it feels a little dry to me. So I'm just gonna do a real quick regrease job on this. So I'm just pulling off this O-ring. Pay attention to how everything comes apart. I have one more bushing up here. So with these bushings removed, you can get to the sealed bearing area. I'll show you how in one moment. All right, so I cleaned off a lot of the crud. So generally speaking, these bearings just have a dust cover here. So I did this off camera, but very carefully I cleaned out all the ridges, the inside and the outside. So then we need to very carefully pry up to remove a dust cover. And then there you see we have access to the bearings. You can see they're definitely very dry. And there's no grease left in there. So we're gonna just shove some grease in there. So all I'm doing is taking some wheel bearing grease, some sort of high temp grease, and I am just cramming it in there. I know, I apologize for the shaky camera. I only have two hands. I'm sure someone will tell you this is not the right thing to do, but it works for me. I assume the seal will never be quite as good, but clearly the seal wasn't working anyway. So at least now the bearings will have grease in them. So once I've got it kind of crammed down in there, I'm actually gonna go back with my fingers with some gloves on and just really shove it down in there and then gently spin it around. Make sure it gets in all the holes. You should basically have so much grease in there that when you put the dust cap back on, it should be almost, or it could actually be squirting out. And we'll just clean it up in the end when it's done. One more glob of grease on here. I'm going to shove it in with my fingers. Again, this should be a high temp, ideally waterproof wheel bearing grease. And then I'm going to spin it around a little bit, really work it into the wheels, the bearings. I guess they would be balls, not wheels. Sorry, I put the phone. Alright, so I've spun it around a bunch of times. It now spins smooth, quiet, and easy. I don't feel a grittiness anymore. That's what I'm going for. I mean, it may actually be a little bit harder to turn it. That's just because you have the viscosity of the grease in the way. But when it's spinning thousands and thousands of RPMs, that's what you want, is the grease to lubricate it. So I'm just putting the dust cover back on. And I'm going to press it back down into place. It just sort of snaps into place. Sometimes they can get a little bit bent from when you remove them. So I may need a second hand again here. There we go. Just pushed it to a little snap. Obviously I'm not using the pointy end of my tool. I'm using the back rounded end. That should be it. Put it all back together the way it was, get it all cleaned off. You don't want any grease on the outside, obviously, of the belt pulley. You do not want any grease on your belt. Good luck.